this is great. I walked into my boyfriend's. We have a house, but we have separate bedrooms because I'm neurodivergent and he's a doctor. So I have to be up at all hours and being weirdo, and I'm into Web3, and he got me into it. But yeah, I was like, oh, what's this? And I started listening to what you were talking about, and I found it really interesting. A lot of different things, because like in terms of ENS names, like I'm bonusmum.f, because it's just a nice like way for people. I can say to people, yeah, here, like I can give them art, or they can give me art in NFTs on OpenSea or whatever. We can share art like that. And also because I'm an anonymous person, because I um, difficulties with uh, um, overstimulation and all that sort of stuff, and being outside of the house and stuff. But I'm really into this Web3 world and being a nerdy birdie. And and I
Yeah.
just, so I walked in onto this on your conversation. I said, oh, who's this guy? And so I have no fully formed like position on you, but I like the way you've been handling yourself, and I've really enjoyed listening to you talk about like how it's interesting when people say like, why do people like you? Like, why do you think people like yourself, and having to prove that, or and then having people say that you had people from Billboard, artists saying that they'd like to support you, but they couldn't because they would get cancelled. And I've been cancelled a number of times, just for saying things that I felt were true in my heart. Um, and and so I just feel like we're sort of like we're it was a like a if this is a matrix, that the merging, that I walked into the room when you were talking, went on Twitter Spaces, when my boyfriend was listening to you on Twitter Spaces, that that there's something for us to be having a discussion about, just about, well, first of all, like unnatural selection, and then I became obsessed with Josiah Zayner and his radical ideas about CRISPR, and how it should be democratized and not privatized, and it should be like the
Yeah.
FDA things should be approved. And I was thinking, how can I do something to help? So maybe we could do it in international waters, and I could
I love it. Yeah.
and I was thinking, oh, and I'll use Web3 somehow to make money, like by doing NFT projects and musical projects or NFT projects to make money, and then we'll open a bunch of like like proper, really well like ethical like clinics in the Dominican Republic where it's legal. But then we'll take ships out into international waters, and we'll bring all sorts of all kids out, kids or adults out that have never had sight or have those MS things, and just do the FDA approved ones that have been, approved, but that are expensive. But we would just finance that with the goodness of the I basically want to be a philanthropist, a philanthropist for the rest of my life. Like I've achieved a lot of things being a singer, and I've gone through a lot of weird experiences. And then I made a movie about autism, and I got shit bagged for it, because I got
Oh
called
wow.
an ableist, and then I later found out that I'm actually neurodivergent myself. And and when people would say to me, "What?" Because they would say, "What?" Like I'm making a movie about autism. It was called Music, um, and I'd say, "Why did you make a movie about autism?" And I'd go, "I just don't know." And only later did I realize, oh, it was because I had felt like I feel a connection to people who are locked in and who long for connection. And so
Yeah.
that whole idea of you being in prison, and that it being like, it depends on who you are and how it affects you. um
Right.
um it to probably based on your neurodiversity as well. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, totally.
I'm
Like,
like, I'm just curious because like so there's the ENS names that I think they're fun and silly just to have, because
totally.
if it becomes possible in the future, you can just say, yeah, like bonusmum.eth, if you want to give me anything, you can just drop it in there or whatever. And
Yeah, they're kind of like the old. I don't know if you remember AOL screen names. Like, you had just have like a handle where you could
yeah,
say, yeah, that's where you can drop whatever you
yeah,
want.
and a simple one that's memorable. And I like to like I like to think of myself as a well, I've had a really interesting weird life, and so I've just started a kind of empire called See a Safe Place. And um
Cool.
yeah, and and so and it's like starting with music and NFTs and stuff, but it's like see a safe place. It's like, come join me at see a safe place, blah 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 blah, la 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 la. You can be angry, you can be sad, you can be happy and mad, you can be worried, but it's okay because we'll all do it together, because we'll never have to do it alone, because you'll be at Sia's safe
I think I'm
place.
asking on behalf of the audience. I think everyone's curious on when the Sia Shkreli collaboration album is coming out. Is that in the works?
Well, I,
I'm open
I,
to collab. I'm open to everything. I'm just like really interested in this new world and learning about it. And I
yeah,
want to basically start a children's. I decided like I didn't know who I wanted to be after I got shitbagged and dragged for my movie, which I was trying to just like, I made a white woman the problem and a black man the solution. And uh and I and I was trying to integrate disability into the world, and it was a musical, and it was but I cast a neurotypical person playing a neuroatypical person, because in her dreams she was able to dance and sing, and it was how I imagined autism to be. The plus sides, how as a gift and a curse. um
yeah, I
and
know, I know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of people
yeah,
think I'm autistic.
yeah, I'm sure. Like, I think the reason we're talking now is that because I call them blurples because I have synesthesia. So I like collect blurples along the way. So like when I was
Oh
listening
wow,
to you talk, I was like, oh, he's a blurple. Um, and that's the color of the people that are neurodivergent or neurodiverse in some way. Um,
that's awesome.
um, but yeah, so after I got shit canned for that movie, and it even got nominated for a Golden Globe and then got dragged, because I got called ableist because I cast a girl that was that was neurotypical as a neuroatypical character. Um, it was a very painful, difficult time. I felt like I'd been gaslit, and I was confused, and I was like, but hang on, this is acting. And I was just trying to tell a story, and I didn't know why I was trying to tell the story. And of course now I know why I was trying to tell the story, because now I've had a proper full diagnosis um, of being moderately to severely autistic myself. um, but anyway, Web3 has just changed my life over the last couple of years. My boyfriend got me into it. He got me into NFTs. I'd always been into crypto. I'd bought in early, oh, well, not that early, but 2017 in crypto. And then I remember watching Unnatural Selection on Netflix, um, which was about all the CRISPR stuff, and I really liked Josiah Zayner's like radical, um, uh, the way he's he's wanted it to be democratized and not so expensive, because it seemed like it was being privatized, and just like no one can afford to get their site back, and no one can,
So, I hate to cut you off,
yeah,
Sia, and it's really great to have you in the space. But I think some other people are either asking what exactly the question is, or
yeah.
Yeah,
because we
Okay,
have a lot of people in the.
I'm
well,
curious.
we don't have to make it a question format. Like, I really, one,
Oh,
I
sure,
just,
sure, yeah. People can just vibe.
yeah, I was
I
just
think
gonna
yeah.
say, one or two things. Like, so I'm a huge fan of your music.
Oh, thanks.
So thanks for that. And two, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, being neuroatypical or neurodivergent. You know, myself. I mean, it's hard to put everyone in the same box of mental states, and you know, kind of like what normative behavior and normative thinking is. And I think it's amazing for you to be brave and sort of talk about, you know, the way you think about things, because if we all thought the same, and I've seen some sort of mean comments in the chat, and I just wanted to say that, like, if we didn't have people like Sia or Van Gogh or people that thought a little bit differently from the rest of us, we wouldn't have art, and we wouldn't have, you know, kind of this creative thinking. We probably wouldn't even have Satoshi either. You know, it takes a really true genius to think so outside of the box.
Well, and
And
the great news is
yeah.
I'm 1 year clean from social media, so I don't actually look at any of the responses.
That's awesome.
I just, my boyfriend, he filters everything for me, and he'll tell me if anything nice like comes up that he thinks I should know about, that's like that might actually be valuable and kind and make me feel good. But yeah, apart from that, I just sort of tend to walk in on some Twitter spaces, or I occasionally I tweet from my Bianca Medici account, which is one of my pseudonyms for my crypto art NFT stuff, that because I've been buying crypto I've been buying NFTs since August of last year. But yeah, the identity thing and the whole like fear of being cancelled and stuff like that, I have that. It was a horrible time when I got like if so I, I'll probably, just for talking to you, I'll probably get lots and lots of hate messages or whatever, and I don't even know who you are or what we're, but I admire the fact that like you're just open to having this conversation, and that you seem to be someone who served time for having like maybe conversations about something to do with CRISPR or something to do with, and what is insider trading, like, and when does it become insider trading? These are all interesting questions to me, I find. Can you speak on any of those things?
Yeah, I mean, these are fascinating topics, and I've just really enjoyed hearing you talk. I know that some people feel like it's all over the place, but the reason that is we've just spent the last like 5 hours doing a question and answer format, and it's kind of gotten a little tiring. So I'm actually happy you broke it up with your own thoughts on things, because this whole idea of Twitter Spaces is not just everybody ask me a question and I give an answer. You know, that's been fun, but this is more fun, and I actually would love to have more people sort of come in and have a widespread discussion. So thank you for contributing. And
yay.
Yeah, so I made a new friend. But
yes, I know we'll have to definitely do something offline. I'll have you over for dinner or something. I'm based in LA.
Cool.
Have you over and just talk to you. I'm just good.
We'll be in New York.
I will be in New York for NFT LA. I mean NFT New York.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm a big dork, and I really am loving to just learn about things. And I think we're at such an important moment in this world where the world, it's right at this axis where it could tilt either way. And Web3, I know I sound like a big, huge nerd, but I believe we could end world poverty if we do the right thing, if we manage
it. Totally. I mean, one thing there's this guy, I'm sure you know of him, Vitaly Buterin, who created Ethereum, but he also created this thing called Proof of Humanity, which is a basic, if you're not on it, you might want to consider getting on it. It would really propel the project forward.
I actually have my own NFT project that I've been working on for about 8 months now, and so we're using some of those protocols so we can fuck the bots.
Oh, amazing!
So you'll have Proof of Humanity to be able to buy one of my they're called souls,
Oh, great.
And they have little personalities, and if you touch them too much, they'll go like that, and they're first sort of three-dimensional, and they have audio, and you can study to them, and they're available to you can have them as a screensaver, and they're for the whole public. But then also you can have the stems, which is my vocals. I'm making them available to the entire world, so that people who wouldn't ordinarily get a chance to maybe submit like a track or a track to me or to anyone, any pop star, but wants to be a musician, can take all of the stems, which are the ahs and the e's and the ahs, that I'm making available on the page 2 of the Souls Galaxy website. I'm making them available to them, and then the Souls owners are going to choose the top 500 of the best songs that they think, and then we'll give all those 500 people an NFT that commemorates that they were good enough to be in the top 500. Then we'll get them to get the Souls owners to whittle it down to the top 100, and then we'll get them to whittle it down to the top 50, and then I'll choose, because research has shown that everyone eventually we just go into the middle, and that what has managed to make me able to do things a little bit more forward thinking is just my guts and intuition or something. And so I'll have the final say on which tracks we use, and then I'll write lyrics to it, and then those young kids or old kids or people who wouldn't have had opportunities, they can they'll get the publishing, 50% of the publishing. And so it's a way to give back to my fans. And then also I'm giving away 1,000 of my NFTs to my really hardcore fans, and then I'm starting a children's. I've decided my next thing's gonna be I'm gonna be like a Mr. Rogers' Sesame Street type person, because I've realized after my assessment and realizing that and being diagnosed as neuroatypical, and really becoming myself and learning that I was really myself, and stopping looking doing social media blackout, and realizing I could be happy without having to listen to all of the haters and mean things that people would say, that I can live a beautiful life. I decided I want to transition into children's things, so now it's called Sia's Safe Place.
Do we maybe, for the kind of free-flowing convo, do we want to maybe bring up some other people to kind of
let's
ask Sia and you some questions?
Yeah.
Let's go out with a bang. Yeah.
Sure. So I'm just gonna kind of pick people at random here.
But I really did enjoy talking about all this stuff, and the thing about this space that's interesting. I was just going to say, the thing about the space that's really interesting is you really can't encapsulate the huge amount of things in this field into one or two quick conversations. It's so expansive.
Hi,
yes.
guys.
Hi, who's that?
Hi, this is Crypto. I'm another Aussie. Hi, nice to meet you, Sia, and thanks for bringing me up, Gordon. Hey, Martin.
Nice to meet you, Crypto.
Thanks so much for your conversations. It's just been such a lightness to this conversation. I think everyone's been really interested to hear about your journey. I had a little bit of an analysis if you wanted to hear it, Martin.
I'd love to.
Go for it.
So we were talking about why people are interested in all of the kind of conversation today, and obviously lots of people are throwing a bit of hate. And so I think that, in my opinion, it's probably because you're someone who came from a position where you were educated and you had major money, and then you came up against that federal resistance, and whether you want to call it persecution or prosecution. And so there's some kind of like morbid curiosity of how someone can go from where you were to jail, and then now seeing like where you're coming out of it and seeing where your mind's at with these things. So I think a lot of the crypto crowd are people who might relate to that. And also we're in a bear market, so we're bored. So it seems like people are treating you like a bit of an oracle at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a good analysis. What can I say? Like I was saying earlier, though, it's really hard.
Yeah, you're
to
just
talk.
very graceful. It's
Oh,
very,
thank you.
yeah, just very graceful the way. I mean, I don't really know what happened to you, so because I'd walked in pretty late on the conversation, but I do know that you went to jail for 4 years, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And for like, what did they say you did?
It was a financial crime.
Right. And so is that considered like maybe insider trading or something?
Yeah, something similar to that. It was fraud.
Yeah, and it's like when, because I'm curious about that too. Like, when does it become, like, when you're talking to your friends about art that you like or NFTs that you like,
Right,
like,
totally. It's
when
one of the
does it
hardest
become,
things.
when does it become fraud? Like, when does it become insider trading? It's and trying to stay clean and above board and
Right.
okay, I don't want to go to jail, Danny. I'd
It's
imagine it
about
was very
intention,
nice.
right?
Yeah,
I think
like,
it is about intention, but one of the problems is how do you determine somebody's intention?
exactly. It sounds like you had you had good intentions, but you got fucked over.
Yeah, I was acquitted on all the charges that were require having a bad intent, and then there was 3 charges that intent doesn't matter. So
Right.
sometimes in the law, even if you have good intent, you can still go to jail. So it's really tricky and hard to kind of parse sometimes. But life happens. I mean, we've all had good things happen to us, bad things happen to us, and you just kind of have to keep going.
Yes, that's one of my sayings is I love you, keep going.
Yeah, I think we're definitely in the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think like the next step of all of this, like, Sia, you're talking, I think that like you kind of, we're talking about a bit of fear there on like whether you'll do the wrong thing. I think if you navigate this space in a way that's mindful and like trying to do the right thing, and yeah, Martin, like obviously there are some things that you can always do wrong, but that's why we have base levels of KYC. And I, as a libertarian, I know that you're probably not super into KYC, but I think if we were to have like a model of KYC as a pseudonym, that might be a step in the right direction. It's probably something I've talked about a fair few times on how you can create a system that verifies things like whether it be qualifications or whether it be experience in an industry, and then copy that across into